Hey there, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today. Just to let you know, you are in the right place. This is our webinar today from OneFix called Work Smarter, Not Harder in 2026. This is going to be a fantastic session. You'll see a couple of guys on camera. They can give a wave and do an intro. Tyler and Tom, both from Pax8. Tyler, did you want to do a quick intro on yourself, and then Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everyone for taking the time out. Yeah, really happy to be here and supporting. Hopefully, I always learn a new thing on these calls, especially with the team and the AI team. So yeah, it'll be good. Thank you, Craig.
Fantastic. And Tom?
Awesome. Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Tom Welton, and I am an AI and automation consultant. Despite my lovely accent, which you've probably picked up on by now, I do reside in Bristol. So I've loved to call Bristol home with Tyler there for the last couple of years. But yeah, great to meet everybody today. And yeah, happy to have some interactions. And just so you guys know, you're on a Teams meeting here, and you can see there's a question and answer and a chat at the top. So feel free to drop any questions in the chat. But in that just kind of regular chat without a question, let me know where you're dialing in from today. And if you guys have any questions about what you'd like to see, yeah, I'd like to hear where you guys are from. So we're coming to you from Bristol is where I'm from. But yeah, Craig, back to you for any other opening thoughts.
Fantastic. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I mean, we'll pretty much get straight into it. I think the key, most of the people that I know on the call are going to be fairly local. So we're based in Reading, sort of outside Reading, we're in Bracknell, so Thames Valley. So there'll be a lot of kind of Thames Valley, Berkshire-based kind of people on here, and there'll be people from all over as well, because we've got some guests who've come in from our LinkedIn posts and that kind of stuff. So really delighted that you're all here with us today. I really hope this is going to be a good session. Personally, I'm using Copilot. A bunch of the team here at OneFix are Copilot aficionados. But I mean, as I'm sure we'll learn from Tom, I mean, it feels like this stuff is really moving at a pace. I mean, how much Copilot can do this year versus what it could do 12 months ago is incredible. So, so much to learn. The key thing, I guess, for those of you that don't know our relationship with Pax8, Pax8 are our kind of vendor partner for Microsoft. So we transact our licensing through Pax8. Pax8 support us to help deliver great services to you, the end user customers. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Tom, and I'm sure Tom's going to wow us with some Copilot magic. So over to you, Tom.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Craig. And again, yeah, please feel free to throw any questions in the chat. Yeah, Craig, Tyler might have you guys keep an eye out for me, and if I get a little tunnel vision, feel free to interrupt me there and yeah, point out anything relevant. But let's go ahead and jump in. And as we do this here, my intention today again is not death by PowerPoint. If you just open up your phone, you're seeing the words AI right now today, whether it's personal, professional, business, commercial, all over the place. So really what I'd like to do is just cut through the noise here and just tell you about Microsoft's answer to this kind of AI equation and what we're doing in the business here today. And then really just, cutting over to a live demo is going to be a majority of today. So I promise you not too many PowerPoint slides here, but some good information up front, I think worthwhile to see visually. Starting up, what is Copilot? So, without being overwhelming, you're seeing this everywhere. You're seeing it on, television games and adverts and quite literally anywhere in the Microsoft ecosystem. You're seeing that Copilot button now pop up. This isn't a side project from Microsoft. So I want you to know that they are full force, full commitment. Satya, their CEO, is up on stage saying, we are a Copilot company. And ultimately, what they've done is they've not reinvented the wheel from scratch. They went out and partnered with the best in the industry at the AI. And so what they've done is they've went and partnered with a company called OpenAI. If that sounds familiar to you, that is the parent company of ChatGPT. So Copilot is leveraging the same exact model. And if you're kind of specific on those models, it was previously GPT-4 was the default model. We're up to GPT-5. And specifically speaking, the contract Microsoft has with OpenAI, if ChatGPT were to update to a, GPT-6 model at some point later this year or next year, Microsoft and your Copilot will upgrade to that GPT-6 model within 24 hours via their contract. And so don't ever feel like you're going to be out of date or like you should go with ChatGPT because you'll have a better engine. They're going to have feature parity there. But what really kind of supercharges this and then separates it from the ChatGPT and the other AI models is the addition of you and your business and your data in your business. And so that context then is what's really going to supercharge this AI. You've got that large language model, it's got that training data, it can snap into the website. But what's really going to increase that knowledge is your email, your Teams, your SharePoint, your data. And we can leverage that. And so you can see there that, a good analogy to maybe think about the hierarchy of permissions and security is file folder structures. If you kind of zoom out 10,000-foot view, you'll see your whole business and your at customer.com, at Microsoft.com account is one file folder with a bunch of data. And if you double click into it, you'll see a really big folder called your SharePoint, and that's got a lot of data. And if you double click deep enough into that SharePoint, you'll find one with your name on it. And that's your OneDrive, actually. Your OneDrive is just a little tiny private folder inside of a SharePoint. And that's how the permissions for Copilot will work as well. And so that's why I pointed that out. If you currently have access to something today in your Microsoft ecosystem, your Copilot will gain access to it. So that's a very good thing for the most part. It means that if your colleague has shared a file with you, then your Copilot can share that file and access it and update it and reference it. You don't have access to your colleagues' email messages, though, and you don't have access to your colleagues' one-to-one Teams messages, and they don't have access to yours. And so that's where, again, Copilot's permissions are just going to inherit what the human currently has. Again, reach out to the OneFix team if there's any maybe questions about that, if you're maybe curious, or again, we understand, personally, if you're a business leader, there might be sensitive information. If there's any concern about your permissioning, absolutely a great time to go in and maybe do just a double check and maybe some hygiene there on the permissions. But again, I promise not death by PowerPoint, but what really, again, separates Copilot from GPT is going to be the addition of the security and the ethical responsibilities. And so I'm going to flip really quick just to the live demo to show you where this is located. If you've used Copilot in any capacity, whether you have a license today or you're using the free Copilot chat, you may have noticed this little green shield icon in the top, and I'm just going to drop this into the chat for everybody to take advantage of. And I promise you, I won't bore you with documentation. I'm just going to point out where this is. You guys can all do your homework later. These 5 bullet points, I think, will do a good job of proving to you Microsoft's commitment to the security around in Copilot, essentially the same as the SharePoint and OneDrive for trusting sensitive data. All of your privacy considerations are supported and spelled out there per regulations, including EU and global policies. If you are on that business premium or have those advanced Microsoft security things, sensitivity labels, retention policies, some of those larger kind of data governance tools are absolutely respected by Copilot. Creative and marketing types out there know that copyright protections are in place. Last but not least is really what I wanted to point out to you guys is that your data is not used to train the foundation models. I'm being very deliberate and very choice in my words with this. This includes the free version of Copilot. So I will say that again. If yourself or your users today are using the free version of ChatGPT, you are the product. It is not secure. That sensitive information may be being uploaded. My recommendation, and ultimately the industry recommendation, is to use an AI that has built-in protections. A lot of those are paid-for tools, yes. There is a free version of Copilot. It's lightweight and web only. It behaves identical and uses that same GPT engine, only you are not being used to train the models, and you can feel certainly safe knowing that you can upload sensitive information, copy-paste emails. I thought that was a really great thing just to showcase real quick to you guys, again, opposed to that ChatGPT. And then the secondary consideration, again, just moving quickly through this, is again, as a business leader and an owner, the tools that we use, we service our customers and our suppliers, we're responsible, a human's responsible. We can't just blame something on the AI. And so here's a really strong 6 principles from Microsoft. And these predate the AI. So these go back 10, 15 years to Microsoft Azure as one of the infrastructure and kind of backend services. There's been things like early chatbots and cognitive services, object detection, things like that before this generative GPT wave came out. Long story short, Microsoft is very good. They know what they've been doing, and they've been doing this for well over a decade. So yeah, I thought that's great to build in. Great. One of the things that you should consider as well is the enablement and adoption of AI. And this is outside of Microsoft. This is really for any AI solution. And this is just to remind you that we've all done this once in our lives. If you can Google things, you can AI things. You weren't born with the ability to Google, but right now you can pull out your preferred search engine, type what you need to know, skip the adverts and the clutter at the top, and find the website you know you're looking for. That's a complex action that you don't think twice about. Here on the screen, you can see just a little bit more of a mechanical breakdown of prompting. This is something that the Microsoft United Kingdom entity, their office is actually in Reading there, just down the street from a bunch of you. They endorse this framework. It's known as the GCSE framework. Great little acronym. You don't have to use this. A lot of other businesses maybe choose something like RTF might be appropriate. That stands for role, task format. It is what it sounds like, and kind of says it on the tin there. You just need to be a little bit more mechanical in what we ask out of the AI, and we can certainly get some good results back. And kind of moving on here, last couple of slides before we jump over to the live demo. You guys can see here, I'm very excited, but there's just so much to show you, but I really want to reserve a majority of this for the live demo. But you've probably heard the word agent and agentic AI, multi-agent systems. There's a lot of buzzwords going around. If you haven't heard the word agent, you certainly will this year. That's okay. We're going to go through just a little bit of kind of a lightweight look at what these are, help you understand them a little bit more. Ultimately, I think many of you will be using agents in your day-to-day this year. I think I can safely make that prediction in January. But as we see here, we as the humans can't be overloaded with technology. You've got a job to do. The AI may not be fixing something broken. If something's broken in your process, you bring in a tool, fix it, that's logical. But it can be difficult to kind of break some of those processes. Agents are where we can bring that in. But ultimately, we need to keep our sanity in interacting with a common interface. And you can see that Copilot aims to be the common interface. And I can appreciate we're talking about Microsoft, but we all know who won the search race engine. And Microsoft, the Copilot, essentially, to give you some insight, they're aiming for this Copilot homepage to essentially be your new Google homepage, in which, with that simple line of text, you can access the wealth of the internet's information behind it. Same with Copilot and leveraging very complex agents that may be talking to third-party systems, non-Microsoft systems, CRMs, databases, all sorts of different things out there. Great. All right, last slide here before the demo. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm just going to park this on the screen for just a couple of minutes here and let you all just maybe absorb some of what you're seeing. And many of you, you're attending the call today because you've heard something about AI or you're curious. My goal today is to show you something you didn't know you can do. If I show you one part of this kind of technology that, I thought I could only do information retrieval. I thought it was just a really good, wizard of a search engine, and it's pretty good. I had no idea that it could do X, Y, Z. And you guys can see a lot of different things on the screen there. One of the biggest impactors for me, and Craig, Tyler, I'm going to prepare you here. I'm going to call you off mute here just to ask you to comment on one of these. But my biggest impactor for Copilot personally, up there in Outlook, 6 over from the left, following meetings I can't attend. I am habitually overbooked in my schedule. I'm Outlook, it's run and gun. Right now I'm on an external call with you, but I have a lot of internal meetings and trainings. When I get double booked during that RSVP as a part of my Copilot license, I can accept, decline, tentative, or I can now follow the meeting with Copilot. So just like you guys can see here in the chat, I think I saw a couple of AI note takers come into this meeting actually. You can send Copilot on your behalf to the meeting. Very good way for Microsoft security. The meeting organizer still maintains control and all attendees are notified. So just like at the start of this meeting, you're on a Teams meeting, there was that little drop down at the top that says, hey, you're being recorded. By continuing to be on this meeting, you're adhering to GDPR and recording privacy. All users are notified if there's an AI on the meeting, and the organizer maintains 100% control. So they can just boot out the AI for any reason if they need to. But Craig, Tyler, they've heard me yammer on here a little bit. Let me maybe ask one of you guys, anything on this list or personally for you that Copac has majorly impacted? And I mean personally for your day-to-day job here, not just something you've seen that's cool.
Sure. I mean, I'll jump in. Actually, you said about people learning something new. I didn't know that the follow meeting thing had actually launched. I'd heard about it probably 6 months ago, and it kind of wasn't there. So I'm going to have to look for that because that's brilliant. For me, the team stuff is brilliant for me. I mean, in terms of just the AI transcription, all that kind of stuff. That alone kind of covers for me kind of my license cost for Copilot. But then I get a lot of value out of using Word, referencing other documents. So, for example, if I'm wanting to put together a policy, I might reference some of the other policies that we work with and say I want something in this style, or I need to create an acceptable use of AI policy, and here's my kind of frameworks that I want to talk to, and I can reference other documents I've got in SharePoint and have it build that kind of stuff out. That's hugely powerful, saves a lot of time for me. So.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, Tyler, can I pick on you for a second? Anything to add?
Yeah, of course. I think similar to Craig's, where we have it integrated into our CRM with the difference in Copilot licensing, my note-taking ability has definitely note-taking need and requirement is definitely taking a downshift, because it's just it's seamlessly integrated into kind of where we sit, and having calls like this and not having to then kind of spend the admin time afterwards making notes and things like that is really helpful, and kind of taking it one step further, I guess, in making me lazier, creating a Word document with Copilot, whether it be like an annual business review or something like that, and then using that Copilot generated Word document to then create a PowerPoint presentation using our Pax8 branding and things like that. So yeah, kind of doubling up on that, let's say working smarter rather than laziness is probably the better word for it. But yeah, it's definitely helping me with that side of things.
I like that, and I felt that kind of, it's an unearned sense of guilt and that laziness you said there, because it's not laziness at all. You've simply outsourced the boring, tedious parts of your job to the AI and the automation, as it should have been all along. And that yeah, that can lead to a little bit of guiltiness, but you're the human, you're valuable, your time's valuable. You shouldn't be collating spreadsheets or yeah, building PowerPoints from scratch every single time. But great. Okay, so let's jump in and take a look at this. And again, if you guys have anything, let me just check the Q&A really quick in the chat here and see if there's any questions. But yeah, feel free to throw. Okay, you have Copilot and M365 Copilot on your phone. I don't believe there's a difference at the moment. It's possible one of them is a personal or like a household account rather than a business account. I do know, and I can confirm, 100% of everything I'll show you on Copilot does work on mobile. So if yourself or people in your business are like out in the field a lot, yeah, we built a really cool agent the other day that accesses the SharePoint and looks up, I think it was like chemical analysis or numbers or something like that, because they were doing some kind of testing as they traveled around. But yeah, great question there, Stuart. Yeah, but potentially we could follow up. So just reach out to Craig or myself there if there's any maybe confusion about which version that is. But potentially that's a business account. Great. Okay, so let's get started here. And when I mean here, this is going to be a relative here. That's maybe the first thing to note, and maybe in a little bit of addition to what Stuart had mentioned there in the chat. There's several different ways of accessing this Copilot. It's quite overwhelming sometimes, and you don't know if you're in the right place. I like to think of this as more or less my version of the Google homepage is how I've kind of formatted this over the last couple of probably year and a half now that I've had a license. And what you're seeing, and I have the Microsoft 365 license, and so I can know that by seeing this work and web tab here at the top. If you are on the free version of Copilot, it'll either be blank up here at the top, or it may just have web only. Again, because the full license is what gets you access into your company's environment and your company's data. That free web-only version is going to look very similar. It may not just have as much going on, but you can see that I'm in a web browser, and some of you may not like web browsers. Some of you might like web browsers, but it doesn't matter. You have a choice. Let me pull up my Outlook, and so this is my email. And what you're noticing is it looks exactly the same. I've got my work and my web chat. I can still go to my calendars and emails. And you can see here, Copilot can operate as an application just out of the left side of your Outlook. And then it also operates in conjunction on Teams. And so let me try to maybe not do a total Teams inception here. And then just, as a heads up, I have my Teams in dark mode. But this is, Microsoft Teams, the chat platform. We're all there. And you can see here, this is my Copilot again. So I've got my work and my web tab. And again, I can access there. So if you do, work primarily out of your chat or your email, don't feel obligated to do it as I do here. There's a lot of flexibility. But again, depending on which tab I'm clicking on, it's going to point the AI and what it's doing and what it's looking at a little more focused. And so if I'm doing a general query, if I'm doing research, I'm looking externally, kind of just the generic anything, I'm probably going to use the web-based version of it. And then if I come back down here, I can see the work tab, and this is a great example of that API. So the Graph API is connecting into my Microsoft account. You can see there, it says a gentleman named Troy Sutton. He's another member of my team that I work closely. And so you can see an easy button to click on him because it knows he's a collaborator. Or you can see this meeting that we're on right now. Help me prepare for this webinar booking that we're on right now, and that it sees that it's in my calendar. And so it's going to point in a little bit more. On the right side, I've got just a couple of options. Again, so one of the biggest things is that you want the correct answer out of your search engine. You don't want your competitors' pricing or way that they describe something inadvertently. So what you can do is you can actually turn the internet off up here. So you can see web search disabled. cannot access the web. So now if I type or ask any kind of question into here, it's only going to see what I have available, not just in my company, but what me as a user has access to in my company. If I search for a document and I don't have access to it, it'll simply appear as if it doesn't exist. In the same way that if you were to search for that on SharePoint today and you can't find it, kind of that old-fashioned way, it operates on the same levels there. A little bit more, we're seeing this as one of the newer evolutions. I won't spend too much time. I'd mentioned that it's that GPT-5 engine. Again, there's lots of engines out there. There's no perfect one. We're going to continue to see that to grow, but we do see a couple of flavors of GPT in there, potentially doing a quicker or a deeper response. And then we have seen Claude out there as well. So if you're a fan of Claude and Anthropic, that is looking like it's available in Copilot. And of course, there's custom Microsoft AI solutions in which you can bring your own large language model. So if you are interested in a Grok or a DeepSeek, just send Craig an email and we can have a further chat about that and what that would look like. Perfect. So here again, prompting and everything, we've got all that, and we'll come back to this here as we wrap up the demo here and get into the agents on the left side and a couple of things. But let's maybe just start the tour here. So let's maybe get it just nice and kind of basic here and jump into our Office applications with, the first one I ever looked at, Microsoft Word. And so here is a Word document. You can see this is an existing Word document. I'll show you a net new. I've done the very technical task of copy pasting the Wikipedia computer security article. But I wanted to show you, this is a 37-page, 15,000 word article. I just wanted to get volume in here just to show you that this thing can work on sizable documents. Up here at the top, again, Copilot is going to automatically give me a summary of this document. Apologies, my computer here is struggling with the size of this document just ever so slightly. But you can see here it's given me, it's condensed this into a large summary, and then this is even a great little detail. So if I wanted to really give me a brief summary of this 37-page document, and then let me scroll up, we'll see if it's able to condense that there and go through it. So there is one paragraph, combined down there. I don't know how useful that would ultimately be, but again, if you're needing to quickly reference information or just get insights or quick things, that is kind of the easy Copilot button. Here in the top right is what you get access to with your license. This is known as kind of the ribbon up here at the top, if you hear me say that later on in the demo. And you can see it opens up a Copilot bar on the side. Once you get used to this Copilot bar, it quickly becomes your best friend and your favorite button. I can very much promise you that. It's located in identical positions, as you'll see shortly, in PowerPoint and Excel as well. So you'll need to kind of learn it once. But here you can see the AI is recommending certain things for me. Of course, I could, summary is the most useful thing, but I could rewrite this. I could alter the text. I can proofread, summarize. It's not just what the AI can do. It's what you're seeing on the right side, though. It's that inspiration is a word you're going to hear me say several times here in the rest of the webinar. This inspires me, and something I might have come to the conclusion on my own in 5, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe it comes to me in a dream tonight and I don't get to it tomorrow, but you know what? This would be nice in a action, a list of action items, or let's maybe do a pros and cons list or a SWOT analysis or something. And so lots of really interesting things that we can do with existing documents. And then we can also do this for net new. And so let me just kind of open up a blank one here for it. Let me do demo doc. So here I've just opened up, I got a blank PowerPoint. You can see I've got this kind of little like magic sparkly pencil thing here is how I would get Copilot. So here I can describe what I would like to draft. So draft a we're all probably pretty familiar with this type of action here in the post-COVID world, but maybe I just want to author something real quick for my remote and hybrid employees, so I can generate content on demand. You can see it's just going to generate it here. It's doing logical things while it's doing this here. I'm just going to talk, but we learned all this the first couple of days of school about, okay, it needs a title, an introduction, a main body, and a conclusion. Cool, it got all those things. If I like it, I can keep it. These chasing arrows mean I can regenerate it. So again, generative AI by design, I would get a different output even with the identical prompt. I can run a prompt against the entire output, and so make it formal. make it fit for a younger classroom audience, because I'm trying to educate a younger audience, or I'm teaching at school or something. And there's how I'd make changes at kind of the global level. Or if I keep it, again, this can work with an existing document. I can maybe come in, highlight a particular section, and you can see Copilot is now in this kind of quick easy bar. Expand this section and add a call to action. So that's a great thing to do, at the end of a document or presentation. Yeah, one of the most common and real world thing that I do is, add a call to action to this, or reorder the list to do priority of what I need to talk about if time's limited. And hopefully we'll get a good output here for it there. And you can see my original conclusion versus the new one that it's outputting there, considerably larger. And then it's got a nice little CTA there. Please share advice, stories, and recommendations with the team. So collaborate a little bit, just kind of, give some camaraderie. But great. So now we've maybe got this document, and to continue with the demo, I'm just going to show you to kind of talk along what I'm doing. I'm just going up to the share button, and I'm hitting the copy link. And so all I'm doing is putting the link to this document in my clipboard. So I've just got easy access to it. So I've just got that copy. It's all we're going to do. And then what we're going to do is head over to PowerPoint. So I know, and I appreciate some of you may not work with PowerPoint very often. Hopefully Copilot can maybe change that then and improve what you're able to achieve with Copilot. Let me pull up here. So what will happen with a blank presentation is that you have the ability to do a create with Copilot, as you see here on the left side, as well as that kind of blank presentation. So now we've got kind of an interesting looking window. It says create a presentation about, and I've got 2,000 characters to tell it anything I want. Or what I've done now, just to show you, I've just pasted that document. So that work from home document that you just saw me create, all I've done was paste it and just said, hey, Copilot, create me a presentation about it. And again, I want you to apply this to what you do in your role and then your business as well. Potentially, does your marketing team or yourself have branding materials? Does that exist in a golden image or a template somewhere, a master copy that you can take from and maybe upload that to Copilot for branding purposes? And I'll show you a tip or trick or two on that as well when we get back to the agent side. But we can see here it's doing something. It looks kind of more like an outline, maybe rather than a presentation. So it looks like it got some interesting things, but this is by design, because this, again, is kind of the structure of it. And then it would allow me to maybe insert a section. And so maybe I can insert a section here, add a topic about everybody likes pets or plants or both. So yeah, maybe those would benefit work from home conditions, and we could talk about that. So I'd like to maybe add a little section about that in there. So there we can, enhance the happiness with plants. And maybe I really want to talk about that first. And so I can drag that to the top and reorder my content is what I've just done. That's fantastic. And then again, as Tyler will know this very well, this is brand new as of today. Every day I log into Copilot, there's something new. So choose which sources Copilot can use images from. Oh, wonderful. So they've got all of their stock content. One right there. That's beautiful right there, guys. Organization's brand library. That's how we do it. Or both. Yeah, ideally. So that's great. We'll just use the generic one here and see what stock images it comes up with. I'm really excited about that. I've been waiting for branding there. And if you build PowerPoints for your organization, you'll very much appreciate and empathize with that. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got the actual slide creation. You can see there at the bottom, it doesn't just load, it tells me what it's doing. If there's extra content, it's actually going to add that as speaker notes to the bottom. Again, so those of you that maybe do quarterly business reviews or executive meetings or summaries, and you're just doing presentations, just upload that big document into a PowerPoint, and then you'll see the speaker notes will be there as well. Great. Okay, so we've got this here. Don't panic. This is just a different view than PowerPoint. This is just not their default view. I'm going to click this little button here to get this looking like what we're used to. And then quite literally, you've seen me do this live. There was no cut or editing or prepared content. I've just created this presentation entirely with AI in about 5 minutes. And you can see the stock imagery. Don't discount it's smart. It knows that I'm talking about plants, and it's got a computer and plants here. And then creating an effective workspace, and now it's designing an economic workspace, and setting regular hours. And again, how we dress is, you're wearing trousers today at your work from home, that kind of thing. And again, lovely things. You can see this notes at the bottom. I don't want to spend too much time in PowerPoint because there is just so much more to show you guys. But again, yeah, hopefully you're seeing here one small piece of Copilot. And again, I'll be able to show you an additional way to work with PowerPoint from outside of PowerPoint, and that's what's really exciting. But yeah, I thought that was a really good example. So we'll yeah, we can go ahead and save that for later. Perfect. So we'll close that out. Great. And we will move over now to everybody's favorite application, Microsoft Excel. Great. And so this is this is a big topic of conversation. And again, I'll kind of reinforce as partners of OneFix. Myself and my colleagues are available for a further conversations. And so if this is something that you would like to maybe take to a one-on-one conversation with your business, please reach out to the OneFix time, and we can certainly do a lot deeper of a dive. But here's my bicycle supply company that I've put together. We're doing pretty well. We made about $500,000 last year. And we can see just a kind of a typical spreadsheet is what I had the AI actually generate. So for testing purposes, actually the AI can help you learn it. But we've got various transactions and things here. Here's a little bit of numbers, maybe with a salesperson, category, product. There's my Copilot button. This one looks a little different than the one we saw in Word and PowerPoint because Excel is so much more robust than the other two applications. There's actually two flavors of Copilot we can use in here. The first one is going to be the one we've become familiar with. So this is going to look very familiar to what we saw in Word and PowerPoint. The ability to just talk to a general AI. I would maybe recommend other alternative methods to this, as I'll shortly show you here, as to be more effective. But certainly, if you find that this works for you, it's very easy to just, are there any trends in this data? Quite literally, it just fills in the prompt. I click go. And again, don't discount that inspiration. If you're sitting there looking at a spreadsheet like it's those numbers from the Matrix scrolling down the screen, you can ask Copilot for help, and that mentally gets you unstuck, and that's where the value of Copilot comes in. Certainly in the time saved, but it's that mental component. And yeah, Tyler even mentioned that he goes as far to make him feel guilty and even a little lazy sometimes with it, but certainly not at all. And here we can see some top trends. It looks like it's found a couple of different trends. Let me see if I can maybe make this just a little bit bigger for you guys. Is that going to zoom? It's just going to zoom my spreadsheet. Yeah, apologies. But it looks like, yeah, my revenue peaked in Q3, but my margins declined. Okay, that's not good. It looks like e-bikes are the significant revenues. So I want to sell more of those this year. And again, you can see I'm getting business level things from the spreadsheet. The answer is here. It's right in front of me. But as a human, it takes me a while to process this. And so that's where the AI is cutting through the noise. And then here, I cannot just hammer in. I'm so sorry for saying the word inspiration, but right here, what do I do next? I could try it with Analyst. And don't worry, I'm going to show you Analyst. I'm so excited. That's an agent. Or I could build charts for these trends. Pivot tables are a thing of the past. You don't ever have to learn them. I know some of you are sitting right there thinking, one of these days I'll learn pivot tables. It's okay. The technology has leapfrogged you. You can just ask the AI to build you a pivot table now, so you don't have to learn it. But let's see here if this is able to leverage. And you can see there, it's looking at Python's open Python library. So the answer is yes. Copilot for Microsoft does support Python and Excel. So if you're limited in Excel and you just need to convert the currency from euros to pounds, it can do that. Or if you need to do an advanced analytical forecast projection of the next 5 years with Python, it can certainly do that. And so it's got a just absolutely massive range. And then here you can see it's telling me that it's created quarterly revenue by category, by channel, by region. And then it's created a couple of different things for me to do this. So let me click on this and we'll just see we'll see how this turned out for me here, and if this created a half decent spreadsheet for me. Oh, maybe it just copied it for me there. And again, as I said, I would probably use a different action to achieve that, as I'll show you here. And yeah, and kind of maybe those other actions then might include using this app skills. And this is what I would recommend for those of you that are the Excel wizards. You're writing formulas in your sleep, you know who I'm talking about out there. If that's you or your colleagues, this is what you want is this application skills. So here, this is dedicated for Excel. Create formulas, understand advanced analysis. And again, easy buttons down here. Let's see, I'm really hoping this one works. This, for a long time standing, for about 4 months, this was the most powerful button in all of Copilot. Unequivocally, just, yeah, astonishing for what this was able to return with a single click. Let's see if it gets it here for me. So again, it's just, yeah, show data insight. So I basically asked it to create me a visual based off of the data and numbers that it's looking at here. Give that about another 5 seconds of awkward pausing here. Otherwise, might let that go in the background. Oh, okay. So let's see. Comprehensive summary will be generated. Clear overview of the data structure and content. Okay. And again, you can specify this. I'm being very generic in the data insights. You just saw that kind of prompting. The more information you give it, the better it's going to give. So if I'm requesting pie charts specifically, or line graphs, or 3-month increments, quarterly increments instead of monthly increments, and things like that, you can very much specify to your heart's content. We'll let that work on the background there a little bit there. I didn't want to keep it going. I really hope that puts out a good visual there. That's just absolutely one of the best things. But yeah, let's just continue here and maybe touch on a little bit of our communication tools here before we yeah, kind of go back to that maybe general screen there and talk just a bit about agents. But let me go to my email. And I do apologize just because I am using my live environment and tenant, and so Copilot is very good at showing things that are relevant to me. They're also very sensitive, and I'm unable to show them to you. So I unfortunately won't be able to show you like my live inbox to be able to summarize my emails, but by far and away, I just want to sit here and talk about that being one of the most useful things. And now is the perfect example from this. We're all kind of you know, hopefully back in the work zone, but that first week back after New Year's and the Christmas holiday, everybody remembers what our brains were like, what our inboxes were like. You know, prepare me for a meeting with Tyler. We haven't talked since November. Remind me what we were talking about and suggest some talking points. Copilot's going to go in if we've recorded any meetings, if we've sent any Teams messages, if Tyler sent me anything on email, and that's going to prepare me very, very much so. Also can help you, you know, prioritize emails in the inbox and such. But, you know, here certainly for a net new email, it can help you write things. You know, I will kind of call out the elephant in the room. We know what an AI email looks like. If you've been sent one, and, you know, I'm sure you're starting to recognize it like I am, you know what it looks like, and it feels a little impersonal. And so this may, you know, may be a kind of personal decision for you to let this develop. But let's see, right, Tyler and email to sync up. Yeah, so I just maybe, you know, quite literally as I'm thinking it, I just type it in, uses natural language processing. It looks like it told me no. Let me see here, it might need to be 100 characters. So see if it's able to draft me here. I do love doing the live demos though, so that's what you guys can see here. No technology is perfect, so unfortunately, yeah, it looks like it's not. Maybe wanted to generate that one there. But it, you know, essentially it would generate what we've all seen, a very kind of generic little email there to Tyler. Making it sound human is kind of that trick right there. So I just want to show you where Microsoft is making small strides in that. Buried deep in the settings, I believe this is inside of the Outlook settings. You can see here the same place where I would put my out of office on. There's now a Copilot and something called draft instructions. So here is where we can start getting just a little bit of that humanization and personalization added into your generated emails. If you start out with hello, hi, salutations, you know, in the person's name, you know, you always do your emails like that. Then you can just tell the AI and set that as instructions. So I'm using the word instructions purposely here. This will come back to later, actually. Yeah. So I'm giving it these default instructions. So now every time I write an email, I don't have to sign best regards. It'll just do that, or sincerely, or thank you, or whatever you put for your standard closing. Again, personal back and forth, the technology works, yes. I don't know. I mean, as a human being, if I receive an AI written email and it's clearly written by AI, it maybe feels a little impersonal. So that's a society problem we're not going to solve on today's call. But the technology does exist. And if you do have a personal subscription to ChatGPT, this is similar to that memory function. It's able to have a persistent memory about you across conversations. Again, I said that, and that might have maybe scared some of you or turned your hairs on the back of your neck up. Sorry. Here, I want to prove to you unequivocally that this is disabled by default. Copilot will not collect any information about you unless you explicitly ask it to. And it would only be for the purposes of work. We don't want any actual personal information, but this custom instructions inside of here, this may be useful to come in, and what I would do is I would tell it about your role and your department, and maybe a little bit about your company. So I would put, I'm an AI consultant. I work in a consulting department with people that also do security and infrastructure. And my business does, exclusively cloud software licensing. And so if I put all that information into it, Copilot knows that on the back end. And so I don't have to type that every single time. Saves me a little bit of time in the long run with Copilot, just because it knows my job. It knows that my type of audience is another business rather than an end client or a customer, or maybe it's a supplier, or maybe I work internally, so my stakeholders are all internal. Again, put these custom instructions. That's how you would do it. Confirming beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is likely what yours looks like. It is disabled by default and by design. So yeah, only explicitly there, but we want to make that very, very clear. Perfect. And then, the other major one then is Microsoft Teams. Again, unfortunate, I can't show you there entirely what I did, but I have gotten a little clever here. So let me see if I can show you just a small example of what this is going to look like. Perfect. So here, again, apologies there. My team's just in dark mode, but on the left side, you can see I've got, there's different like groups and categories and stuff. If you haven't done this with Teams, that's a fantastic feature to organize like my personal chats and maybe people external to the company. But here, this project Pangea, that this is not real data. This is just something internal, but we're all a part of a Teams thread that looks like this. And it looks like this on a good day. It looks like this when you take a one-day holiday. It looks like this when you take your week holiday. This is where Copilot absolutely comes in, and you can come into it right here on the sidebar. You can see, Copilot pops open. I can summarize this thread. So let's. So I can maybe put in something like summarize the entire thread and maybe point out what a specific person, like what one of my colleagues, Daisy, maybe had contributed. We can see there, oh, it looks like maybe it can't identify that there potentially. Sometimes, and again, we did this, set this demo up probably, almost a year ago, actually. So yeah, potentially that this may be falling a little bit, but here, and again, you can see it's giving me inspiration. So, oh, actually, major milestones and timelines for the project would be great. So again, just different ways to do it. When you join a meeting halfway through, again, the AI Copilot notes behave the same. That follow meeting feature. So don't just think about that to not entirely attend the meeting. A lot of you sometimes have that kind of half-hour overlap where you can only make the last half hour of the meeting. It's maybe, okay, why bother? Is it going to be important if I show up? The answer is yes now with Copilot. You jump in the meeting, you spend 1 minute summarizing what they've talked about, and if they've mentioned you, and if they've talked about you, or even if they've assigned you any action items, will all be listed. But here we've arrived kind of back home here to our landing page, and this is where I wanted to spend the remainder of the session, is to kind of navigate a plethora of features on this home screen here. Is it again, ultimately we're looking at the Google home screen of the future, with the ability of the kind of the world's information, your company's information, and a lot of really cool actions that we can do behind this. One of the very first things I'm going to do, one of the most undervalued things I do not see people talking about, is the, I almost call this like a proto agent. So this is not agents at all, but it is automation within it. So what I've done is I'm in the work tab, and this is a prompt that I've typed in the past. And so again, if you have Copilot and you're maybe following along with some of this stuff, you may not have noticed this. It's very subtle, and it's only specifically on the work tab, and a prompt that you've typed in the past. I could type it right now and just do it again. But if I hover over this, I see a little tiny clock right here. This is, I promise you, this is one of the absolute most undersold features of the entire Copilot. Schedule the prompt. So I can put this prompt on repeat on a timer. Let's take off the weekends. Let's set this for 7 a.m. and let's run this every day at 7 a.m. for my work week, it's going to run the prompt, what's the weather and how should I dress? So, kind of a silly example, but don't discount how powerful this simple action is, and how uncomplicated this is. You might not be that much of a technical person. You can configure this. If you can configure your Outlook out of Office. This is less complicated than this. What kinds of prompts should we be putting on schedule? And so if you're a leader and you're sitting in leadership, summarize my company this week. Summarize, if you've got data and those, information and things are updated inside of your SharePoint, it can update and give you a summary analysis on your entire organization. If you're a team leader or a people leader, this is absolutely fantastic. Your Microsoft permissions oftentimes give you visibility over your team members' calendars. They sometimes give you access to shared folders, extra resources. You can ask, how did my team do this week? Or what kind of contributions to the company did my team do? And maybe run that once a week on a Friday or something. And yeah, there's just so many cool things. And again, there's maybe one prompt here, and I promised not death by PowerPoint, but I'm gonna break that promise just once here, just to go back to a singular example here for the prompting, just to show you one that I would absolutely put on repeat, and I very much have in the real world. Let me just go back to my slideshow here. So here is just a small presentation I do on prompting, and this is how prompts evolve. And what you're looking at is a summarize my day, prepare me for tomorrow kind of set of prompts, and that's all that is on the right side, is summarize my day and prepare me for tomorrow. What we do is we don't have to remember that. We don't have to copy paste that out of a folder every single morning and run that prompt manually. The way that we play this is that we have this prompt ready to go. We save this, and I can show you the gallery. And then you put it into here and you run this prompt so that it closes out your day every day at 5 p.m. And you don't have to put any automation or anything. Yeah, very, very simple action, very, very cool. I know I'm probably going a little bit too much into it. You can even, do an email response when, hey, this prompt has been corrected. Summarize all of the Excel documents that I've worked with this week, or every Friday afternoon, run an entire scan of my inbox and make sure that I've replied to everybody for the week and that I've not missed any emails. There's a lot of very useful, cool things out there. Cool. So let's, maybe talk about some of the other things that they've put into here into Copilot. One of them is the create feature, and I am just looking for that now. And as I say that out loud, they have possibly moved that to somewhere else. And so let's maybe, do notebooks here. So again, this is kind of feature parity. Some of you might be using non-Copilot AIs, and you're wondering, well, does Copilot have the same features and functions that my current AI has? This notebook may be something that interests you that you may not have been aware of. I can come into here and say, I can do the Project Falcon notebook. I'm going to create a new, it's almost like a little project, and I can upload specific files that I would just be working on. Maybe it's related to a certain client or a big project or something that we're doing. I can add specific Copilot instructions. So just like that memory detail. Hey, we've got a very large client in the Northwest. We're doing our best to get this. Our timelines are March 1st and May 1st. And, I can put that information here. Please be, aggressive and reminding us to complete this. And the biggest feature, I wanted to show you is just get audio overview. And so I think I maybe have to just go, let me go this one here. I've uploaded the Ministry of Justice annual report. It's about 500 pages there. Very not so great reading. But here is the examples. I just wanted to show you the optimizations. Some of you are maybe familiar with AI that can turn documents into audiobooks or podcasts. Copilot has that feature. So I can do that as either a narrator or kind of a podcast dialogue back and forth. I've got a couple of voice options. I can make that more, casual or professional, and again, kind of duration and any custom instructions like, keep it lighthearted or keep it very critical and serious, or, again, whatever you'd want to customize it. But the answer is yes. Audio formatting and then kind of these project workbooks do exist, and it's just known as notebooks there. I believe the non-Microsoft one might be a notebook LLM if you're familiar and have run into that. Perfect. Okay, so I've talked about agents here. I've got about maybe 10 minutes left. I'll maybe try to wrap up just a few minutes here for any kind of final calls. But Let's maybe talk about agents. And again, just to confirm again, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I just want to put this picture again in front of you. What we're looking at Copilot is just this home screen. These agents, you do not need to be a technical wizard or mastery. But I do think if you start thinking a little bit like this, there's probably some really cool things that may already exist out there that you can take advantage of, or you have the power to build it. So that power to build it is going to come with this, what's known as Copilot Studios. So if you see anything that says Studio or Copilot Studio, it's all related to agents. And this is just a feature of the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Here is a new agent, and this is what you would be able to take advantage of. So it's opened up a screen. Again, I haven't left my home screen. So here I'm going to describe what kind of agent I would like to create. So create an employee handbook agent to tell my things like company policy, IT policy, so yeah, that's probably something that exists in some capacity at your organization, some kind of handbook. It's got all of your informations. It's got all the, fine language and policies, and whether or not I can wear a Hawaiian shirt on casual Fridays and things like that. Instead of having to maybe go to your HR team or dive deep into SharePoint to look that up, create an agent for that is what my recommendation. And you can see here, I've just talked to Copilot, and I'm just going to have a conversation with it. So hopefully it spins this up, and yeah, I can confirm I work in this on a daily basis, and it does rapidly build these much faster than it's doing currently. But it should stage the agent just right here on the right side is what I'm trying to show you here. Oh, come on here, Copilot. We'll see here, but basically what this is going to do is allow me to test the agent. I can talk to the agent. You can see this little chat bot at the bottom here will turn into the chat box. Yep, looks like my computer here is just maybe taking a little bit of time. And oh, look at that! It's even updated the name. You can see employee handbook agent, and it's built this thing on the right side. And you saw me do this in real time. That took about a minute and a half, real world. Employee handbook agent. Would you like to add specific knowledge sources? Yes, that sounds wonderful. So now I can upload the SharePoint site, or I can link to it directly and have a live connection if it's a live document that maybe gets updated. Or I can just, add a static copy and load a company. And so there's the company handbook URL, include IT policy documents. There's the AI policy. If you don't have an AI policy, please create one or reach out to OneFix, and we can help you with that. And again, here you can see I can go back and forth, and let's just see if it's able to kind of do an action. So again, when we make technical changes, and you've seen this for all of your kind of existence, that you have to go in and actually make the technical change. AI is really upending that, and that's what we're really trying to stress with the education, is that due to natural language processing, I can now perform a technical action by simply talking to it like I would another human. Let's see if it's able to update the name here to employee handbook agent. I'll maybe give that a second to run in the background. I've got another tab over here. So we'll just, maybe let that one run in the background. And again, those agents, you might create an agent. Where I'd maybe go to next is do not reinvent the wheel if somebody else has already built it. And what you get access to with the license is the agent store. Right here, Microsoft themselves are building these agents for you, and they're very, very good at what they're doing. And there's some absolutely wonderful things. When Copilot released a little under 2 years ago, we saw this was maybe 3 or 4. You can see this is now a growing catalog, but I'm going to show you 3 today that I absolutely think apply to 100% of all businesses. Somebody in your organization will take advantage of. Researcher, analyst, and then workflows is something I'd like to showcase as well. So researcher is the first one, and you can see here the way that you add it's how you add a cell phone app to your iPhone or your Android. You open up the App Store, you click add. Again, no additional charge or upsell. This is all included with your Microsoft Copilot license. And then it'll add researcher to your left side. So you can see there's my agents there. I'm going to click on researcher. You can see it's, again, a home screen. it's got radically new technologies that, things like computer use. And so now it can actually follow along and screen share and look at things that I'm looking at. So that is one of the newer features I think is brilliant. But yeah, and again, this is similar to deep research as maybe what you're thinking, oh, is this, yeah, deep research. Again, feature parity with those other AIs. This does take about, it can take upwards of 10 minutes to run a prompt. So I'm showing you one I've run in the past. I didn't want to have to sit there and let you guys wait. You've watched me prompt enough, but I went to, let me go to maybe another one. I think it was property dispute cases. This was a good one. I was working with a legal entity here in the United Kingdom. And so again, if you're maybe in the legal sector, this might benefit, but think about how this would benefit your industry. Give me 10 property dispute legal cases, give me an overview, summary arguments, and then here's where I got the AI involved. Give me suggestions on how they could have done it better. There's the single kind of back and forth of the prompt. It says, okay, I'm about to do a super deep dive just to check kind of XYZ, make sure that you're good. And I said, yep, all that looks great. So I've only prompted twice in this, 2 total interactions. That's all I've done. Here's my output. So look at the right side. Look at my tiny little scroll bar. This is the single output from a single prompt that I put in there. And so this is just, yeah, I did this 10 times over, but this is one of the 10 of my arguments kind of back and forth, what the outcome of the case was. And then right here is where the AI would benefit me in that role, is in the legal side of how I could have strengthened the case. Oh, I should have done X, Y, Z. And again, you can use this to research a person, a business, a client, a technology, really anything you want to learn about. This is what AI promised us a few years ago with that PhD researcher at your fingertips type of tagline. This is Microsoft making good on that promise. And so absolutely check that out. The other side of that same coin is the analyst agent. And so again, I promised you there, if you're an Excel worker or you're in finance or even leadership and you're looking at those summaries, absolutely, without a doubt, you have to use analyst. And you can see here, perform an executive summary on a single spreadsheet. You can attach up to 3 simultaneous spreadsheets at the moment. So you can take the last 3 quarters or the last 3 months of numbers, and then here is the type of outputs that it's able to do this. So again, maybe instead of maybe going through those numbers with a fine tooth comb in Excel, I take a little bit of a larger view and I get an executive insight. There's some key insights. There's maybe some areas for management attention. So that's maybe something to look at, maybe why my margins eroded Q2, Q3. There's those beautiful visuals I promised you. And again, if I specified pie chart, it would give me a pie chart instead of a bar chart. You can specify numbers and branding too a little bit to customize those. And again, you can see, nice quality of life, just, download or copy this chart specifically. Really, really good things going on inside of that analyst agent. So yeah, something that's just incredibly powerful. And again, yeah, multiple things there. You can do forecasting, prediction. The last thing that it does, 100%, it can clean up an Excel file. So please clean up this Excel file. A, it does it and it works. And B, it shares you like a summary overview of the changes. It'll say, it'll give you almost like a little table format and said it removed not a number from columns X and J, and it consolidated this and did that. But again, keep an eye on these agents as these grow more and more. Yeah, tons of really cool ones out there, all different kinds of use cases. The other one that I'd like to just introduce you, and this is something that we use internally at my company, and this is something that I think OneFix is going to use, and this is something I think you guys are going to use. Building these agents, building the automation, connecting it into your CRM or your database. It's going to require us to kind of draw out a diagram or an architecture pattern almost. So how do I even get started with that? Well, maybe I could just describe the process. So let's say, build me a flow for when Tyler looks at my Outlook calendar and books me for a meeting. So maybe I would just kind of talk to it and give it just maybe some language like that. And I'm hoping, I know we're right at the end of time here, so yeah, we'll hope this gets through the workflows. But this, again, I think is almost more like an assistive aid just to really map things out. And what this is going to do is, I need to check out Outlook calendar, Tom. Can you confirm which calendar? Oh, see, I didn't even give it enough information. But again, if I was a technician 10 years ago, it would give me some error code that I would have to go look up and specialize. this, it told me in plain language what I missed. And so here it's quite literally a back and forth conversation. Yeah, can really kind of set up, triggers. It would do this and then go into Outlook and then say my calendar. There we go. This is what I wanted to show here, right in time here, right as we finish up. So, essentially, and if this was a more complicated flow, but if you see things like trigger and Outlook and, upload to SharePoint, then those are the kind of things that will help us build agents in the future. Perfect. All right. Well, we're right at time here at the bottom, so I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to officially shut up here. So, yeah, I guess, potentially maybe just double check any final thoughts there. But yeah, I want to thank everybody again for coming and hopping on here. Again, as a follow-up resource, we are very much, Tyler and myself consider us an extension of OneFix and their team. So reach out to us if we can, come in and if you'd like us to sit down with you and your business and do a deep dive for your specific industry and maybe do a little bit more examples on the types of documents and processes. Very, very happy to do that as well. And then just to let you know about a promotion that we have for the Microsoft 365 Copilot. If there are 10 or more seats purchased, that does include a readiness assessment that we can run on the environment as well. And so, again, all the way back at the beginning, I talked a little bit about permissions and your intellectual property and your C-suite staff salary budgets and your HR information and recruiting processes. If you're not confident that all of that is locked down in permissions, it's okay. The whole world is in the same space. AI kind of forced this conversation on us a little quicker than we were ready for. But ultimately, it's a good thing, and we're here to help you guys. So just reach out if there's any concern about permissioning or security or anything like that on their end. But yeah, potentially, Tyler, I guess maybe over to you for any closing thoughts or any final things on your side.
No, thank you so much, Tom. And yeah, just to reiterate, everyone on the call, thank you so much for the time given to just talk a little bit more on that the project packs that Tom mentioned. That first one of the AI assessment, or the kind of tenant assessment, which evaluates your existing environment. The biggest kind of storyline, I guess I can push as to why that's a really good thing to do before we start implementing Copilot. We don't want a frontline engineer to be able to search for like what is the CEO or managing director being paid this month, because they have access to it within a SharePoint somewhere. Understanding what the conditional access policies are, what the SharePoint policies are going to be key before we start putting Copilot and this powerful tool and locking it into your M365 environment. But that's where the team at OneFix can come in and support with that journey, cleaning up the data and AI, data before the AI is put in. But yeah, if there are any questions, I'll pass over to Jess to kind of close out.
Yeah, unfortunately, Craig has had to pop off onto another call. But like Tom and Tyler said, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. If you have any other questions or especially questions about the Copilot readiness assessment, if you're one of our clients, just pop it over to your account manager, which is most likely Callum or Lee. If you are not one of our clients, you can get in touch through social media, email, our website, any way you like. And the questions that have been popped into the Q&A section, we will sort of be going through it over the next 20 minutes or so in the chat for the webinar and just answering those. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Tyler, and thank you, Tom, for joining us. And oh, yes, was that a hand up? Oh. But yeah, thank you. Hope everyone has a lovely rest of the day, rest of the week, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jess. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.